We're going to rise and shine because it's wake-up time as we go one-on-one on the Coffee with Coach Zoomcast. We're here today with Caleb Scott, a legacy Vanderbilt man, lineman, an NFL receiver who always took it from the class to the grass. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Man, it's good to see you, man.
Cool.
Talk to me a little bit about, being raised in a Vandy family and, expand on your dad's career a little bit.
Yeah, so both my parents went to Vanderbilt. I was just ever since I was born, we grew up watching Vandy. Things were black and gold around the house, and I was raised to be a Commodore. So my dad played at Vanderbilt. He set all kinds of records. He was an All-American receiver there. And he ended up being a second-round draft pick in the NFL draft. So, yeah, it's been fun to, try and follow in his footsteps. It's been a challenge. He's set some pretty big standards, but it's been definitely fun and a really cool thing to, have a similar journey,
right.
Going to Vanderbilt and playing receiver as my dad. So, yeah.
Well, we'll talk about your journey real quick because I know, in terms of being recruited and being committed, what did it look like for you?
Yeah, so things happened pretty late for me. So I had a bunch of little offers, but nothing that I was too, excited about. I got an offer from TCU, ended up being my biggest one, ended up committing, and then kind of got a bunch of more, and Vanderbilt was one of those towards the end. I think it was right when you touched base at Vanderbilt. It was probably like your first week there.
It was.
And you had to get the ball rolling with recruiting. Just getting that Vanderbilt offer just hit a little different. I think just because, a lot of family background there, being in the SEC, being closer to home. I mean, Nashville, you can't get a better city than that.
What was it like for you competing in the SEC?
Yeah, I was raised to know the SEC was the strongest conference. So it's a whole different ballgame when you're actually in a game lined up against, the top corners in the country. But I wouldn't want it any different way. It's fun to go against the best. It's a challenge. It just makes you better. So it was definitely a grind. The competition was ridiculous. But I wouldn't want it any other way. So it was a great experience.
I love it, man. I love it. What did you major in at Vanderbilt?
Yeah, so my major was medicine, health, and society, global health focus.
Okay.
I kind of fell into that. My family does a lot of work over in Haiti.
Right.
My granddad started a school there back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going there for, every spring break. And every time we would go over to Haiti and to the school. So I kind of got to see what it looks like in a, third world country. And so my whole thought around education was I wanted to learn how to, do something to help medically or, and so when I saw that there's like a global health, major at Vanderbilt, I was like, I guess that's probably the one for me.
You came through, with a class of receivers, man, that was probably one of the hardest working groups, man, that I'd had a chance to coach. It was yourself, Trent Sherfield, C.J. Duncan, Trey Ellis. You can't do with dudes, man, that just worked hard. They grinded every day, and that's who you were. What was that like with that group of guys?
Man, those are my guys. I love those guys to death. Man, it was definitely a grind. In particular, Trent, man, he would push all of us. I think he was a big leader of that group.
Okay.
He's getting up at 5 a.m. at the facility, catching tennis balls before anybody had to be there. And when you don't show up and he's over there, you're just like, man, what am I doing? I gotta, he just brings you along with him. So he really carried us. And, he challenged us. I've never seen a guy work harder than that guy right there. And then CJ and Trey Ellis, man, those are my guys. I think I learned more dance moves in my time at Vanderbilt.
Love it.
From CJ and Trey. CJ always made sure I had, my swag on point going into game day. And those guys, they just made it fun. it's so important to have a good group of guys around you.
Yeah.
And those were my guys. So,
Share with us if you can your greatest Vandy football memory.
Experience was that sneaky Pete play.
Oh yeah.
That trick
Sneaky
play where
Pete.
I was, supposed fourth down, we were punting the ball supposedly, and I came out late, hiding on the sideline. I don't want to give too much away, but that thing worked out. We scored on that. So that was just so fun. Just we repped it so many times in practice, and honestly, those are some of the hardest catches to make when you're wide open by about 30 yards and you got nothing going around. My other one would probably be Tennessee at home, my junior season, and we, beating them, put them out of I think going to the Sugar Bowl or something, and it was just a big game for us to go bowling, and so I feel like I had a great game and did a lot, played a big role in that win, and had two of those deep balls down the middle of the field that I laid out for and ended up coming up with, and just hearing the fans and that game is just different than all the others. So, and there's just nothing better than beating Tennessee, and especially to go to a bowl game.
Your path to the NFL. Size that up for me real fast. Size that up.
Came off a pretty good senior year. Felt like I had a good amount of tape out there, to give me a good fair shot, getting on a roster in the off season. From there on, after the season, it was train for pro day. I grinded every day to, it was all about that 40-yard dash.
Absolutely.
So technical about the start. And so, every day just working on that and just working on my craft. And, I didn't get to go to the combine, but pro day came around and I had a really good pro day, ran a really fast 40. And so that really just put me on the map. So teams were talking and I ended up getting assigned to Seattle as a free agent the last day of the draft. And I went out there and I knew it was time to compete, and we had a room about 14 receivers, and I think they kept 6 and then 1 on P squad. And so I ended up getting to be that 1 on P squad. And then it's kind of tough because you gotta prepare the team, prepare the defense to be ready for Sunday, but you also yourself could get called up, on Friday or Saturday and be playing on Sunday. And, Russell's relying on you to, be out there and catch a game-winning pass. So yeah, I had a great experience in Seattle. I was coming back for my second year, ended up breaking a tiny bone in my foot, and it's just sidelined for so long. I've had 2 surgeries since then, but this morning I ran routes with the NFL QB and just felt good. Felt like I was on time. And
how has COVID-19 impacted your life? How's it changed your thoughts and priorities about life after football?
We've just all had to get creative. Like this Zoom call,
Right.
I think it's kind of cool to watch the world get creative, and, things are slowing out a little bit, but honestly not by much. And it's cool to see people change and adapt to the challenges in front of them. Super kind of eye-opening is, I've talked to my family more than I ever have before this, because I feel like since we're quarantined, there's nothing else to do. So we're FaceTiming, and and now we're all realizing, why don't we do this? Why didn't we do this before coronavirus? And so I think that'll carry on after this. I think it's just kind of brought people together. It's kind of forced people to be where their feet are and be with each other. So I think there's a lot of hidden lessons that we can gain from this whole thing.
In terms of priorities, priority 1 is getting back to the field, but life after ball, what does that look like for you?
I feel like Vanderbilt, the education has equipped me for really anything I want to do, which has been, that's awesome. So I'll end up wanting to do something where, I'll continue with what my family's been doing in Haiti somehow, one way or another. I think that's been a really important part of my life. So,
everything that you just said really encapsulates your spirit. Truthfully, you've always been about helping others. That's what your life's work is. It's been in service for a long time. Whether it's on the field, off the field, it doesn't matter. Caleb, man, thank you for joining me. I wish you much continued success, with your future endeavors. Your journey's going to be strong. You make sure, you take care of your family, take care of yourself, and we'll continue to keep talking, my man. You anchor down.
Absolutely.
God bless.